Agricultural Extension Management, and the Indian Institute of Millets Research, Hyderabad. Currently working as a Block Agriculture Office cum Deputy Project Director, Atma, in the Department of Agriculture and Farmers Empowerment, Government of Orissa, promoting millets from farm to plate so that the goodness of millets reaches many people. We have Mr. Tapas Roy.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction. First of all, I must thank GCPIT for organizing such a wonderful initiative. And welcome to this Global Sustainable Development Summit 2022. I will be sharing my presentation.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Is it visible now?
Yeah, you can start. You can start.
Yeah. First of all, I will be talking about millets. As you know, millets has gone to a great level, if we say this 1 decade. And certainly, if you are very new to this millets, I will say it is a small seeded annual grass that is grown mostly in the marginal lands and mostly preferring in the rain-fed areas. In this, if I talk about millets, it was the ancient food grains first domesticated, and it is grown in 131 countries. So it is a traditional food for 59 crore people in Asia and Africa. But as you know, India is leading in this journey. In 2018, India proposed to be celebrating 2023 as the International Year of Millets. So it has got a very good popularity in this India and also has taken a lead in taking millets to the international level. So let me take you what are the benefits of millets. If I take about the Sustainable Development Goals, if I say it is one is the goal is zero hunger, it is also, we were talking about last many decades back, where food security was the concern for everyone. It is not only the developed country, but also the developing countries. But this food, this millets, has been the sustainable food source for combating hunger. So, and another thing that is mostly we are talking about nutritional security, millet is one of them which can definitely fulfill that. In the chance of, if we talk about climate resilience, it is the crop that can be grown in infertile soil with less input and also grows well, even if where there is rainfall of 350 to 450 mm of rainfall. So another thing that we talk about, it is also the economic security of a farmer. It is the sustainable nutrient source for the farmers because it is the food they have been taking for the long years back. And if I talk about small and marginal farmers, those who are, if we are a country like India, where more than 65% of people, this depends upon agriculture, and investment also requires very less in this millets growing or growing this crop. Other thing that we might be thinking of, that during COVID-19, there were a lot of searching where the food which can be very beneficial or the food that be very good for the immunity. If I talk about, it is the millets. And today in this world where you feel like gluten-free, we talk about gluten-free products, which millets fits the best because now the people are feeling more allergic to this gluten, and this is the millets that's rightly fit into to be the gluten-free. It has been researched and found, and it has given us enough evidence from the collaboration of research done by the entire world, where it has been seen that millets can help in controlling the diabetes or the blood sugar level in the people. It is also good for the bones and teeth, as it is also known for, as you know, the finger millet is containing about 364 mg of calcium. So it is good for the babies and also for developing good bones and teeth. Finally, I will say it is good for the farmers, good for the planet, and also good for you. So coming to the mainstreaming millets, how we can help, or the integrated framework which I have brought out today, which was the main focus on today's talk, that if we need to bring these millets to the global forum, then we have to think of many ideas. That is, we have to see the framework, what to be integrated. So millet cultivation, as you know, that millet cultivation requires very good high quality seeds, and also we need to follow some good agronomic practices, as we do in India, where there are some best practices has been seen and the farmers are doing that. That is SMI, that is system of millet intensification. You must have heard of SRI or in paddy, but these millets, after doing this SMI, the yield has grown to a manyfold and farmers are very happy to get that yield. Other thing that we need to talk about research and development. Research come out like machineries. You must be knowing that there are 9 types of millets grown in India, but there are some other millets like fonio and teff, which are grown in African countries. Among those, there are millets which has been categorized into major and minor millets. So pearl millet, sorghum, and finger millet, which comes on the major millets, which does not require much of processing or does not have a husk on it, but the rest minor millets has a husk, and we require some machineries. So we need to develop more machines which can have a good efficiency of processing these millets so that the bran layer of that millets remain intact. So, and also the issue comes when there is a bran layer on this grain, we also need to see how to improve the shelf life of the millets, because it is also one of the challenges. And we have to focus that how this bioavailability of these nutrients, as we know it is rich in nutrients, we need to ensure that how the bioavailability of millets can be increased in our body. Another thing, for millet mainstreaming, we need to also sensitize these policy issues, as we know that if we help the farmers or incentivize the farmers for growing millets, then only that can come into the proper way. We can help the farmers and these millets can again revive again. And to take these millet grains from the farmers to taking it to the market, or we need to do the forward linkage, we need some entrepreneurship to come into this platform, where we need to enhance help the entrepreneurs to come and see what is the potential in it. We have to show them that this is the potential you have, this is the opportunity you have, so that you can create a business out of it. So we need to work on that. So here is a case study where I will be talking about Odisha Millet Mission, where I am personally working in the ground and implementing this Odisha Millet Mission, as we have been knowing that it is one of the flagship program of Odisha in India. So the main focus of this, it was started in 2017-18, and it was a special program for promotion of millets in the tribal areas, where most of the tribal community or the tribal farmers grew in the last, if you say long back. So it was also the only the project that is being more focused on the consumption of millets. And also we focused on increasing the productivity of millets by doing the best practices of millets growing in the farmer field. As you know, we have also seen that the children needs to be addressed in ensuring nutrition security in them. We also helped the school children to consume millets. We also took the opportunity to also help the self-help groups so that they can do the processing and also do some value addition and also link up to the market. So the women farmers also have been the major role in this Odisha millet mission. No doubt, only it is not the production, the consumption, or the value addition. We also help the farmers to sell their produce in the minimum support price so that their interest remains always so that they can grow more and more millets and also help the consumers. So another case study where I will say you must be knowing that to develop the millet entrepreneurship, there is NutriHub that is by ICR, Indian Institute of Millet Research, which transfers the technology to the entrepreneurs, and it has impacted a lot and supported more than 200 startups in India, and also transferred 170 technologies to the entrepreneurs and the startups. And also it has provided various one-stop solution, and also given the R&D infrastructure so that the trial and error can be done by entrepreneurs so that he can take his product to the market. So to take this we can say, if you want to take these millets to the long run, there are many challenges. If I say there are lack of seeds, seed materials, we have to need to bring more good value or value seeds and can provide to the farmers. Also, there is also have been seen that challenges, we have seen that the area has been declining slowly and slowly. We need to revive them again. We also need to include millets in the under a minimum support price, because it is not only one and two states can, but if we can come together and join hands, and the states like where in India, if I say we are favoring more over paddy and wheat, we need to also include millets so that it has to be bring a change. And also consumption, if I say there have been a lot of consumption or misconception of millets that it was a bird feed or it does not go well. So we need to also bring some propaganda, or we should bring some branding of millets and also teach people how to cook. And also we need to bring some more private partners to enter into this segment so that the lot of marketing happens, and also the channels, the value chain can be maintained. So what I see that the way forward, what I see in this for mainstreaming millets, we need to focus on production, inclusion of millets under MSP, consumption. And it is very nice to see that social media plays a very vital role for helping people to consume millets. So we should also focus, it is not one or two, if we can join together and promote millets on a big platform in every social media, then only this can be a very good solution for everyone. And we need to support the private sector so that they can do investment. And slowly we have been seeing that in India, the startups have been also supported by the investors from outside the country. So it is a very good scene what we can see. So coming to this millet business idea, this is the book which I have written in this month only. I have published this, and my idea was that we need to bring all this millet value chain. We need to support all the entrepreneurs who are interested to learn what is millet and how it is benefited to the farmers, or how it is benefited to the consumers, and what are the opportunities that been seen in India and abroad. And because in India, India is is the largest producer of millets, and how this entrepreneur can take these millets to the end consumers. That is the need for mainstreaming millets. So then only the nutritional security can happen. If I say to more, even this book is available in Amazon and everywhere. You can find Flipkart and everywhere. And to learn more about, if I say, as I have been developing this milletadvisor.com, where I seen that 3 years back when I built up, I thought there been to be written more over new information, very correct, authentic information, so that it becomes a very good platform. And today it is surprising to see that in a month I'm getting about 12 to 15,000 visitors per month. So it has been growing and growing. So I think this is the platform has been supporting the consumers, the startups, the farmers everywhere, which I think that this will be empowering the millet startups in the world. So with this, I will say eat millets, stay healthy, and to moreover, if you can try or you have to know more about millets and to collaborate with me to take this millet journey, you can write to me, you can call me. I will be always happy to help you in this regard. With this, I will say thank you to GCPT for giving this opportunity. And the long run, I think this journey will be going more and more. Thank you for everyone for your presence hearing.
Thank you so much, Mr. Roy. Do add the connection links on the chat so that everybody can benefit from it.
Sure.
The next topic we have is making digital health solutions sustainable in healthcare systems. We have a practitioner's perspective by Dr. K. Madan Gopal, Senior Consultant at Niti Aayog, Government of India. Dr. Gopal is a healthcare professional with MBBS, MD qualifications, and started working on issues related to the healthcare systems reforms and strengthening in India for more than 28 years. Currently working as a senior consultant with the National Institution of Transforming India, Aayog, the apex policy think tank for the Government of India, and contributing to various healthcare initiatives, transformative programs, including Ayushman Bharat. We have Dr. Gopal next. Thank you.
Hello, good evening. First of all, I'm very much grateful to the Global Sustainability Development Summit for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts and view about how making digital solutions sustainable in the healthcare system from a practitioner's perspective. As we have seen during the COVID times, had it not been the digital solutions, then the things would have been very, very different. To talk about when the pandemic started, we could not think what kind of solutions would be available. But now you see, during the COVID times, we have seen the start of the Arogya Setu, that's an electronic tool, wherein if the person is positive and the suspect is coming in contact with that person, immediately some containment and other measures could be taken. You see how the digital thermometers and the digital pulse oximeters, they have revolutionized the home-based care during the COVID times. These are some of the solutions. When the time challenges, these solutions come. It's not that simple that we have arrived to this thing. One more interesting thing in the digital sphere which has happened during the COVID times was the crowdsourcing of the crowdsourced initiatives for the digital development. You have seen that so many websites are there. They are using artificial intelligence, bots, and other mechanisms to pull in the data and see that how that data is translated into this. Having witnessed the earlier pandemic, this pandemic was different because a lot of data was available because of the use of digital solutions in the form of AI, bots, everything. We used to collect information, and immediately now whatever, if anything is happening in the media also, to the help of our AI bot, then you can immediately fetch that information and that is available for use. Now I will try to highlight that the efforts towards the digital health, they started during the early part of this century, wherein the telemedicine was started on a pilot basis, which was subsequently rolled out as a program. Then during the early part of this decade, that means around 2010-11, we had tried with the enactment of the Clinical Establishment Act. We envisioned to have electronic health records, use of electronic health records for whole of the country, which simultaneously, after all these efforts, now we have a national health policy which envisions to have a digital health technology ecosystem and recognizes the integral role of technology like e-health, mobile health, cloud, Internet of Things, wearables, etc. in the healthcare delivery practices. which we have witnessed during the COVID times. To roll out the digital health, we have created an institutional framework. We are having three institutions. One is Center for Health Informatics, which is located at National Institute of Health and Family Welfare, New Delhi. This was established in 2013 by 13 for managing the National Health Portal and the e-health initiatives of the ministry. We have a National Resource Center for Electronic Health Standards, which was established in 2014 and is located at CDAC. It was supposed to facilitate the adoption and promotion of EHR standards in healthcare IT applications. Then another institution which was created was National Resource Center for Telemedicine, which was established in 2011 at Lucknow to develop and strengthen telemedicine technologies in this. Though things were happening in the telemedicine field, but the legal and more power was given when these telemedicine guidelines were released during the COVID times, which has given a legal backing to the teleconsultation, telehealth, and as a result, you have seen a leapfrog into the telemedicine platform in the country. These are the few digital initiatives which are happening in the health sector. One is the integrated health information platform. So this has been developed with the enablement of the GIS mapping to predict early outbreaks with the outbreaks and clustering of the cases. Then we have a National Medical College network wherein all the government medical colleges are interconnected to allow teleconsultation, teleeducation, remote learning, live surgery interaction. We have hospital information system, which is an integrated HMI suite, which consists of health information system, PACS, blood bank, and telemedicine suite to help digitalize administration workflows of the hospital. We have a reproductive health portal, which usually track the care and support to the mother, children, and eligible couple for their reproductive and child services. We have Kilkari, our mobile service to deliver audio messages on pregnancy, childbirth, and childcare. We are having online registration system which facilitates online registration and appointment in public hospitals. We are having Mera Hospital with an IT-based patient feedback system to collect information on patient level of satisfaction. We are having e-Rakt Kosh, which having a blood bank system which connects all the blood banks so that a blood storage and that can be this. We are having TV monitoring system in the form of Nischay, which is a web-based application for monitoring this. But all the systems are working in silos. These are the challenges in the subsequent slides when I will be making the presentation. You see that how the silos are being broken. As I mentioned in my previous slides, with the release of the telemedicine practice guidelines, it has opened a plethora of platforms for this. Even in the government sector, you are having a platform which is known as eSanjeevani platform. eSanjeevani is having two components. One is telemedicine in the health and wellness centers. If you look at the structure of the country in the health sector, we are having states. Each state is having the district or a county, and each county is having development blocks or this. In the development blocks, we are having the sector, and each sector is divided into sections. And corresponding to this, you are having a section headquarters in the form of health and wellness center. At the primary health care, you are having a primary health care center. At the block headquarters, you are having a community health center or the block health center. At the district hospital, at the district level, you are having district hospital, and we are envisaging to have medical colleges on most of the district hospitals. What we do, these telemedicine are happening right up to this level, that is health and wellness center, which essentially is at a population of 3,000 to 5,000 depending on the difficulty of the terrain. That means at that level where we are trying to push in the medical expertise to that level so that the person who is there, he can facilitate a doctor-to-doctor consultations. 11 states have been actively rolling out these teams. There are more than 70 plus doctors. Hubs have been created by the states which are linked with around more than 3,500 health and wellness centers. And remember, India being a very big country, we are having around 1.5 lakh health and wellness centers. And subsequently in the coming days, you will be connecting with all the health and wellness centers. What we do, apart from this, we are trying to provide OPD consultation for COVID management. Patient to doctor consultation is happening. We are allowing the registered medical practitioners to provide healthcare services to telemedicine. These are some of the initiatives by the Ayush, that is the alternative system of medicine. They are having an Ayush hospital management system, Ayush Suraksha, e-Charak mobile application, National Ayush morbidity and standardized terminologies, then e-Aushadhi, TKDL portal, Tikanda Kosh, Ayush research portal, e-Rakta Kosh. As I mentioned in my previous slide, in the health also, in the Ayush also, the things are fragmented, and I'm trying to bridge all this thing together in the form of Ayush Grid. Having witnessed this, it's now very clear that the digital landscape in the countries, especially in the health, is highly fragmented. You are having ICT systems across the spectrum in the country. You are having beneficiary identification system. You are having payment systems. You are having human resource management system. You are having supply chain management system. You are having hospital management system. But the problem is no single view of beneficiaries can be seen. The data system is weak. The quality of data is poor because we want a high quality data to be analyzed at the top end, but the data is to be collected by the people who are not that qualified. So that remains a challenge. Then misreporting, low level of accountability, no standardized format used for data collection, hence they are not interoperable. Duplication of data on multiple systems, as many systems collect the information. Suppose I get services for immunization, but I get services for malaria or TB. But these two data sets, they don't talk to each other. So a lot of duplication are there. And added to that, a common identifier is required for the providers and the patient and the facilities so that we can link all this data. And lack of common IT platform is also one of the challenges, which to address all these challenges, we thought that we should be having a common identifier as envisaged in the national health policy. When the Ayushman Bharat PMJ was rolled out, we developed a national health stack, which subsequently feeded into the national digital blueprint. This national digital blueprint, which was agreed in 2019, gives an architectural framework for digital health in the country for evolution of national digital health ecosystem, and we are moving in that. So what this digital healthcare ecosystem will be addressing, it will address the issues of accessibility, it will address the issues of affordability, it will address the issues of quality. So what it will benefit? It will benefit the citizens about to discover health services and the providers, book health services, order health products, then avail video consultation. For the health providers, it will provide access and view patient history. It will provide digital consultation to the patient. For the policymaker, we can analyze and view the national health programs at the national and the international. So what we are doing currently to reach the vision of electronic health record of 1.3 billion. So what we are doing, we are trying to address all the issues and the challenges which we have focused in the previous slides. Creating a health ID based on Aadhaar or mobile number of the patient, voluntary services to be available by the citizens. Then we are trying to create a registry for the health workforce so that an unique identity is given to the provider. Health facility register is also created and ID is provided to the health facilities. Then all this thing would be fed into the electronic medical records so that it can be linkaged with that. And these electronic health records would be used for the subsequent, that is, surveillance and management of the program. Having said this, we do have some opportunities, and the trend is that the use of IoT devices, 5G is recently launched in the country. We are having blockchain technology which can at least address the issues of accessing the data. We do have telehealth, which can aid in remote ICU and patient management, web portal for patients, telemedicine, mobile health apps in this. Apart from that, increasing use of artificial intelligence we have seen during the COVID times. As we are moving in the right direction. With new technologies, we overcome the existing challenges and opportunity and optimize the business processes. We need to adopt the rapidly changing digital world and use technology to improve efficiency. Identifying the problem and the opportunity and determine how technology, including technology, will solve the problem is critical. And the answer is how it won't. That's the answer lies. So always I say that we have to see that how we structure, whether we are addressing the problem or we are creating the problem for the practitioners. I will stop here. Thank you very much once again for this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to have you on the call. Microfinancing for advancing sustainable development through micro business is the next topic by Mazia Zeva Parivar, Oxford researcher in sustainability and chair of Sustainable Finance Conference USA. Mazzy is principal investigator on 2 ESG research projects at the Global Center of Healthcare and Urbanization at Kellogg College. He's a regular speaker at the Oxford Masters in Sustainable Urban Development Program, where he advises students on thesis selection and planning, and is the organizer for the annual Sustainable Finance Conference at Kellogg College. Mazzy is also an investor and an entrepreneur with projects ranging from livable, low-carbon urban development to deep tech life science spin-offs from UCLA, UCI, Bath, and the University of Edinburgh. We welcome Mr. Mazzy on this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sagarika. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's really quite an honor to follow Dr. Gopal. The last presentation was very impressive and exciting to see the kinds of work that are being done to try to bring healthcare to India. I will touch on that today actually as a good example of microfinancing. So first, a little bit about myself. As you mentioned, I carry out research at Oxford University, and every year I host a sustainable finance conference there. And it's been very exciting to see the way the financial community has started to embrace sustainability. However, most of the attendees at my conferences are major institutional investors, and I don't see much movement yet in the direction of major institutional participation in microfinance. As we all know, capital is the key to upward mobility. Most people spend much of their life as employees and are not able to save enough money to build their own business. And building a business is not what everybody is meant to do. So we have to be very clear that only some people actually want to be entrepreneurs. The classic image of a micro-lending operation looks something like this. There's a very community-based lender, and money is lent out and tracked, and interest is collected, oftentimes at very, very high interest rates. Of course, we all know that oftentimes these loans are not used to start businesses, but these loans that are made in rural communities in particular sometimes are used for income smoothing or to pay for major events. Although quite important, paying for your children's marriage is not social entrepreneurship. Microfinance is not the same thing as microlending. Microfinance is supposed to be used to actually build a business, to start a company, or to create an opportunity for developing assets that will produce income. Microfinance is supposed to empower, and it goes beyond just a loan. It can include insurance products, it can include savings, and basically it's about financializing people who have not traditionally had access to financial resources. But without capacity building, capital in the hands of somebody who lacks the know-how, the expertise, or the support, or the education to become successful, that capital is not necessarily going to be used in the best way. So one of the challenges with microfinancing is what else needs to be done to leverage this capital in order to create successful outcomes for a prospective entrepreneur. I'm really proud of a dear friend of mine, Dr. Satyendra Saha, who has developed a scheme in West Bengal, starting out of Calcutta. And I want to describe this scheme to you as a case study for effective microfinance, because it's bundled within empowerment and training program, not as a standalone microfinance event, but as a comprehensive program. Dr. Saha started his career by training as a surgeon in London. And after several years of practicing medicine in London, came back to his native Calcutta. And he realized he could not really improve the healthcare for people in rural communities sitting in Calcutta. And he also saw that there were many young women in rural communities who were graduating from middle school, getting married, and not having opportunities to improve themselves or create economic means. So he worked with Johns Hopkins to develop a tablet-based software that could be used as a frontline healthcare intake system. So as you see in the image there, there's a young woman with a tablet. That tablet has an expert software. That expert software was developed between Dr. Saha and Johns Hopkins University in the US. It's a questionnaire. So if the patient comes in a village setting and has a complaint, that questionnaire allows the frontline healthcare worker to assess that patient. That information is then sent to Calcutta and to physicians. Those physicians are then able to assess the patient's situation and make a recommendation for action. So we call this process a digital clinic. So women normally from disenfranchised backgrounds who have achieved middle school certificates and who want to be self-employed, and that's a critical factor, is that they should want to be self-employed and they should want to be entrepreneurs, are given training to certify them as community healthcare workers. This training certificate is useful for them, not only working as frontline healthcare workers with the tablet, but they can also go work in a hospital or in a medical setting. The government subsidizes this training. Of course, 50% of the training eventually has to be paid back, but initially the upfront costs are all subsidized by the government. In addition to this training and certification process, seed funding is provided, and a group of these graduates from the 6-month training program form a partnership firm. This cluster of individuals will then service a certain geography, a certain population size, or what's called catchment area. They will share resources, for example, potentially a PC, a central location from which to transmit data back to Calcutta, or a kiosk, a healthcare kiosk, depending on the resources that they have available. But Dr. Saha's organization, JSV, provides seed funding to start their business. In addition to the seed funding, they're provided with the smart software, the tablet, and access to doctors in Calcutta. They also receive supply chain support for things like medicine and disposables. That could be gloves or thermometers, whatever they might need in the field. And most importantly, they receive training on how to be small business administrators. Because of course, being a healthcare worker and collecting money and growing a business are two very different things. And both capacities have to be instilled into these individuals. And then Dr. Saha's team stays with these individuals for multiple years and continually trains them with upskilling and supports them as they grow their business, with the goal that within 4 years of enrolling in the program, again, it's not like 6 months or 5 days or get a loan and then you have a successful business. It's within 4 years of continuous support. The hope is that these individuals will then become independent, self-sustaining business people, both making income for themselves, which of course is one of the social development goals to alleviate poverty, and providing healthcare, which is another one of the important goals to have access to healthcare for all people. So I'm extremely impressed with this model, and I believe that it points the way for the future of microfinance, which is to approach microfinance in a more comprehensive, capacity engaged way. This is my hero, Dr. Saha. That's really all I have to share with you today. Thank you. I finished a little bit early, didn't I?
That's perfect, Dr. Mazzi, and really good insights on your case study, something different to learn from. Okay,
Great.
from
Yeah.
India, we're going to move to Africa now. The next topic is key areas to focus on in Africa's sustainable development and challenges. We have Mr. Ivo Array Bongaya, founder and director of the African Center of the Community and Development, as well as he's the CEO at the Earth Complex Guest House, Limbe, Cameroon. Being a project and development expert with huge experiences working in diverse sectors, including agriculture, food, environment, cultures, education, communications, hospitality, industry, etc., his work has communicated to over 1,000 multimedia publications. Interesting. Welcome, Mr. Ivo.
Thank you very much for the very kind introduction, and hello, everyone. I am Ari Ivo, and so I will be talking on key areas to focus on in Africa's sustainable development and the challenges. Well, Africa has 30% of the world's mineral reserves. It also has 12% of the world's oil and 8% of the natural gas. Africa can boast of 65% of the world's remaining arable land. And as of today, according to the United Nations, Africa's population stands at 1.4 billion people. According to the African Development Bank, Africa's middle class has tripled over the past 30 years to 313 million people, even though COVID-19 is threatening to reduce this bracket by 8 million. Africa has also one of the fastest growing economies in the world, yet it has several issues affecting the continent, including poverty, hunger, energy access, infrastructural gaps, trade gaps, conflicts, climate change, and high incidences, population growth, massive rural urban migrations, biodiversity loss, inequalities, and governance issues sometimes. In this light, there are certain areas that need to be put in focus in terms of, the issues that need to be put into focus are poverty. Central Africa has the highest rate of extreme poverty at 54.8%, followed by Southern Africa at 45.1%, Western Africa at 6.8%, and Eastern Africa. Congo accounts for around 10% of global extreme poverty, while Nigeria accounts for about 12%. This means that we need to actually tackle poverty as a major issue towards attaining the sustainable development in Africa. There's also the issue of hunger. 280 million people in Africa suffer from chronic hunger. This amounts to 21% of the population. And 1 out of every 3 infants under 5 is stunted, and close to 30% of the population is malnourished. There are so many gaps in this area that actually need a lot of attention in order that Africa can reach sustainable development. The sector of energy is also something that we need to look at closely and focus on. Over 640 million Africans have no access to electricity. Africa has the lowest access rate of the world at 40%, and only 3 countries in West and Central Africa are on track to actually provide electricity to all of their population by 2030. While these gaps exist, there are windows through which impact investing can actually come in this light. Africa is also lacking in terms of road, rail, water transportation infrastructure. Africa needs, according to the African Development Bank, 170 billion a year by 2025, with an estimated gap of around $100 billion a year. This means that financial institutions need to step up their instruments in Africa. And this means that risk factors or fiduciary risks that is ascribed to Africa will have to be regulated or modified. There's also the issue about climate change. Recent data states that hard and extreme weather or climate change could cost Africa up to $50 billion yearly. Key areas where the costs accrue are in areas around the coast, where there's property loss due to high sea level rises and loss of livelihoods. In 2021 alone, 2.6 million people were displaced from climate-related disasters across the continent. In a continent where there's high rates of desertification and also conflicts in the Sahel, the situation is dire. So if we move on to the situation of conflicts, there are 19,600 incidences of armed conflicts in the continent as of 2019. This rise in coups in the continent of late in countries like Burkina Faso, Sudan, Mali, and Guinea. This actually means that the governance structure in the continent needs to be revisited and more participatory approaches need to be put in place. Population growth too is a factor as the population is growing at 2.6% annually. But it's also a positive note because in sub-Saharan Africa alone, youthful population will reach about 500 million people by 2050. This means that there will be a lot of people who can work in industries and that can satisfy the demands of corporations that decide to invest in the continent. Also, there's an issue of inequality in the continent, especially with women. 70% of women in Africa are excluded financially. The continent has a $42 billion financial gap between men and women. There is an opportunity here to bank the unbanked, to empower women in politics, in the economics, and in other areas where we have gender biases, as well as to educate them in order that they can actually participate more meaningfully to sustainable development in the continent. Another issue is intra-trade. Intra-trade in Africa, between African countries is just 18%. This needs to be stepped up. The African Continental Free Trade Area, which was just launched, potentially can increase trade between African countries by 50% by 2030 if it is well put into focus. So that is a key area that African governments need to put into place and that their partners need to help to ensure that there is trade between African countries. Just like the volume of trade between Africa and the rest of the world, which is only 3% now. It means that Africa needs to diversify and stop being dependent on only raw materials and minerals that are leaving the continent and sometimes unchecked. So the challenges that Africa is facing does not really give a total bleak picture of the continent. A couple of things need to be done to redress the situation. If women are empowered, there will be more workforce and they're going to contribute to the GDP of the continent and there's going to be growth. And with the youthful population that is earmarked to double in the continent by 2050, this is very important. Also, with a 313 million population of a middle class that has the capacity to spend up to $20 a day, and that is going to double by 2050, Africa has a potential of spending that industries should invest in the continent in order to leverage from this capacity. In terms of food production, agriculture is very important and is very needed in the continent as it has 65% of the world's remaining arable land. Africa should welcome investments in areas like fisheries, integrated livestock keeping, permaculture, analog forestry, and so on. These things have environmental footprints and also have the capacity to create jobs and also mitigate the impacts of climate change. There's also the need of the transfer of technologies between the North and the South, which as of now is stunting. And we need issues like the recycling of waste, the production of technologies to produce drought-resistant crops, and also rain production technologies to reduce desertification and also increase the arable areas in areas that are affected by fallow lands. So Africa also needs partnerships. Actually, a lot of scholars worldwide have been advocating for this kind of interaction between Africa and the rest of the world. Sullivan and Skelcher in 2002, Dehan and Zumas in 2005, Tuna and Franks, Ari in 2008. All of these scholars have been saying that partnerships, fair partnerships are necessary for Africa in order that Africa should attain sustainable development. This is very needed. And this can only work if Africa can leverage also from the technologies that are worldwide, like the ICTs, which as of now, only 1% of Africa is leveraging from broadband subscriptions. 6% is leveraging from global internet connections. The continent is facing serious issue in terms of connectivity, and this needs to be stepped up. And also access needs to be affordable in order that it can impact to the rest of the population. Despite Africa having over 600 million phone users, the choice of what they do with their phones is an issue, as the continent needs more productive services through the internet, banking, and also other new technologies that can improve on access to diverse aspects of sustainable development. There's also the issue about communication, where Africa is underreported in international news and other media services. And this needs to create a new narrative of the continent, which has over 30% of the world's reserves in natural resources. The continent can boast of diamond, of cobalt, of salt, of gold, of iron, of uranium, of tropical timber, of fruits, of biodiversity. It has the Congo, which is the second biggest tropical rainforest. It's actually a home of biodiversity. And so it should be what it is, attract ecotourists, bring in foreign currency, and also bring in foreign investors who are willing to invest in the continent. There's also the need to step down rural-urban migrations. This is leaving rural areas to be underdeveloped and is creating slums in city centers. So therefore, infrastructural development should go towards the empowerment of rural areas and towards the depopulation of city centers to allow for more healthy cities in the 21st century. Also, the energy system needs to be developed and renewable energy needs to be put into focus, as well as in understanding of the context of the continent, which means that situational intelligence on the continent needs to be stepped up. And those who want to work for Africa's sustainable development must work with those who are actors on the ground, who understand the situational intelligence and can transform the continent in a sustainable manner. So the poor are not a passive lot, and Africa is not poor, but seemingly poor from untrained eyes. Thank you very much. That is what I had as presentation.
Well said, Ivo. I love the closing.
Thank you.
Next, we have Colonel Sandeep Sharma, the Associate Vice President, Prestige Group, India, who provides insights into achieving green building targets in commercial and residential landscape with special reference to net zero energy and net zero water. Being a Class 1 gazetted officer from the Indian Army and a practitioner for work ethics and values in corporate ecosystem for 13 years, working through GE Healthcare, Goldman Sachs, and Prestige Group, Colonel Sharma is passionate about sustainable development with an aim of sustainable businesses working in sync and driving values for SDGs. Currently working as the Associate Vice President in the group for spearheading the asset management of commercial and residential landscape in South India, especially Bangalore. We'd love to hear your insights. Thank you.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. And thank you, Sagarika Sahu ma'am. It is really a pleasure that I am continuing my support and the rigor through GCPIT for the second year in succession, and welcome you also part of the fold with GCPIT. And thank you for giving me a short and very concise journey of my corporate career before I took premature retirement from Army. And yes, I could proudly say that what I have learned, those skill set and ethical practices during my service career, I am narrating and driving into actionable information and engagement on ground with my end customers. To begin with, I'll start with a small quote is that time for bold and transformative action is now. We all need to start taking actions at all our places because we are still slightly behind what we have promised as sustainable goals for all 17 goals for GDP 2030. And that can only be exercised by each and every one of us. We are all sitting far and wide at various corners of this universe, which we use, and we will have to make a pledge to make it more sustainable, more livable for our generations to come. And to begin with, I would like to add a few lines from G20 summit, which is presently ongoing in Bali as we take over the presidency from Indonesia. And I, as a citizen of the country, is committed with that initiatives which we are going to bring change in our India-Pacific entire region, as well as supporting the various initiatives through our real estate conclaves, real estate seminars, as well as real estate dialogues, which happens on monthly, quarterly, and some of them are on half-yearly basis. So now we quickly move on to the landscape. And landscape is generally that surge in population, which is moving from villages or tier 2 or tier 3 cities into urban landscape. And as we all know that year on year, that urban landscape is getting denser and denser year by year, right? And as the data speaks for itself, we are touching almost 35% of Indian population, which is cohabiting with in urban landscape. China is touching around 65%. Yeah.
Sorry about that. Please continue. Yeah.
Yeah. So most of the European countries are 80 and above, and US also is 83%. So keeping that in mind, most of our populations are cohabiting in our urban landscape. It is our moral duty to sustain this urban landscape through our commercial, residential, retail, and hospitality to make it more sustainable for all of us and make it a sustainable habit. And this we can do by converting our buildings into net zero energy and net zero water in terms of savings to our planet. Just in general, I would touch upon, we have got a handful of buildings which are zero energy buildings in India. To begin with, as I would say, it is only a single digit 2-3 years back. We are touching into 12 or 15. In between that, we are ranging. So we all need to work towards that. And as Mr. Mazi, I like that script of Mr. Mazi because he has got a top-down approach for sustainable financing. And I'm sure going forward, investors will take a note on definite sustainable practices by the various developers across the globe, as well as in Indian subcontinent, right? Now, quickly, I'll move on to commercial landscape, first of all, because the main upsurge of the population into urban land is that business or a job or a bread earner for the family is basically they are moving for a particular, entitlements or for their growth in their life is working out of a commercial landscape where various our clients or multinational companies, Indian companies have got offices. So through developers' standpoint, we have got a definite understanding and focused approach towards engaging our customers for sustainability, and that year on year, month on month, we do by engaging them and guiding them about sustaining the buildings by consumption of water, save energy and save power, sustainability pledge with clients on a monthly rhythm that gives a sort of sustainability pledge. It's a new initiative which we have started because we have over the years were cognizant about safety and security. As my understanding goes, for us, sustainability is priority number one for all of us. Safety, yes, of course, we have to be safe and sound, but sustainability is a way forward. So keeping that in mind, we have got a focused approach towards sustainability pledge with our service providers on a daily rhythm, because they are part of service which we are giving to our end customers on day in, day out, right? And last but not the least, for commercial landscape, the importance of vendor partners cannot be ruled out, because these vendor partners through supply chain or to our various services which they provide through our multiple MEP or affiliated aspects to our buildings are also very important. And we have included these sustainability aspects with their reformulated KPIs, KPI data, KPI infrastructure that has been reformulated to accompany those sustainable goals, and our expectations with our vendor partners have been enhanced, and to a realistic sustainability aspects have been covered in those KPIs. So engagement with compliance and statutory bodies for the initiatives at commercial buildings are also there from us, and we are doing that part by proactively reaching out to the government bodies in South India with other developers with us alongside, and we have got a referendum given to the government departments that what compliances, what statutory rulings which we are following on ground, and new initiatives which we have taken on ground to make our parks, our commercial landscape more sustainable, as well as proactively more visible for impact rather than only greenwashing. What I would say is greenwashing, what I meant is only conveying on paper, but outcome is not there. So more practically, it has to be more seen into actions, what we do on ground for commercial landscape. Now, quickly, I move on to residential part of it. We have got plenty of residential aspects where we construct on regular basis. So there as well, as a service providers, we provide the participation alongside with ladies, children, and elders in these residential complexes. We give the knowledge transfer, how to do the sustaining model of these residential landscape by doing recycling, sustaining and conserving water, and replenishing those rainwater harvesting. These practices we do constantly along with our end customers. And in addition to that, we carry out monthly awareness programs with reference to initiatives through games and various curricular activities, which generates interest amongst who are there in our residential complexes, right? And thirdly, about retail as well as hospitality segment. Retail, we have got daily customers which move into our retail malls, and hospitality for hotels. There as well, we have got full control on the sustainability aspects by regular control in the usage of water, awareness given to those service providers who are part of our service teams in these landscapes. And we have got measured goals year on year as far as sustaining and saving water is concerned. And we acknowledge these front-end warriors who carry out and execute those results on ground. Right now, quickly I move on to the ESG part of it. That is very, very close to my thought process, and I have started focusing my energy and time onto this environment, social and governance part of it by acquiring new skill set in terms of ESG goals and objectives. And I'm doing a few training programs, and aim of doing this training program is to ultimately drill down the knowledge transfer into my teams and my partners across peers, which includes junior as well as seniors, into my system, right? And so by doing this, I am confident that going forward, we will be more realistic in our approach towards the sustainable development and attaining those ESG goals in particular, right? And by doing this, what I meant is that we will curtain the problems for business continuity, because it has got direct relevance for business continuity for our operations, because interruptions, as we see on ground, are basically of two types. One is emergent and one is non-emergent. Emergents are those interruptions like natural disasters in terms of flooding, which I'm sure most of you have heard about flooding 2 months back in Bangalore, fire, civil unrest are examples of emergent interruptions. And few are non-emergent interruptions like supply shortages, supply stoppages, and commerce interruptions or loss of electric power and like that. So what I meant by taking these examples is that it has got direct relevance on our continuity of operations. So by focusing on sustainable development, we have the uninterrupted continuity in our operations, and there cannot be any business loss. And this has got a direct impact, is coming now on ground on our management as well as who's of the industry, and it is more participative for keeping that aspect in mind consciously and absolutely for the right way forward for sustainability. Last but not the least, I will be touching upon the green buildings, which we are focusing on. And going forward, we as a group and other partners are cognizant about the architect part of it and the various aspects which are required to be there for a green building in our commercial landscape and it has got few parameters which I'll just touch upon. There are major ones are about 7, and first and foremost is we use aluminum weather resistant insulated access panels. These are sustainable. Next is energy efficient windows, and we have got direct vendor partners who support in this, so that part is also taken care for energy sustainability. We have next aspect is green roof, and we are cognizant about providing the green roof for the way forward in our next and going on buildings. Solar power, yes, we are working with multiple market players who are in support of solar power. We are having that knowledge downloads through our solar institutes and government bodies, and we are working with them consciously to get this aspect also adequately covered for our green buildings. Next is water conservation. As I have said earlier, that water conservation is very, very pertinent aspect, and we just can't waste water just like that. So keeping that in mind, there are various measures which we keep in place in terms of using the rainwater harvesting and recycling the water at the various commercial spaces. Recycling of the waste, we do that, and we give the ultimately those waste products to government registered vendor partners who have got all streamlined processes for recycling and bringing that back to utilize into various aspects of the business. Landscaping, yes, last but not the least, is also an important aspect for all of us to understand. That will give a very viable and interesting part in a place where people are working, they are healthy. Indoor air quality will also make a lot of difference when people are working and coming to workplace. And yes, by doing this, we are doing our bit in keeping our buildings green. And way forward is yes, a definite yes, through our management and board of directors. We have taken an affirmation. Yes, going forward, we will support that sustainable development goals for COP 27, as well as the Paris Agreement, which our Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi ji, has given. Those directives are also been taken into cognizant, and we will be doing that in the years to come. So that in nutshell, I thought let me share these aspects quickly, and we are dedicatedly doing that, and it is percolated down to the last person of the company, as well as wherever our footprints are there. We make a constant endeavor to make people understand that sustainability is the key to our livelihood. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much, Mr. Colonel Sharma. We really appreciate your inputs and insights.
Thank you so much.
I6 Framework for Strengthening Innovation Ecosystem in Academics by Dr. Kiran Kumari Patel, who is a professor and director at the University Industry Interactions, Reva University in Karnataka, India. She has executed various industry bond-sponsored projects funded by the IEEE Engineering Project in Community Services, Purdue University. She worked as research lead for Nokia Research Labs at Reva ITM, sponsored under the Nokia V2U collaboration project. Dr. Patel has published 50 research articles in reputed national and international journals, as well as conferences. Dr. Kumari, over to you. You just need to unmute yourself, Dr. Patel. You need to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I have unmuted.
Okay, now it's fine. Yeah.
Yep.
You have to unmute yourself. You are on mute, Dr. Kiran.
A very good morning to good evening to all the global leaders of SDGs. Am I audible? Yeah, my screen is visible.
Yes. Yeah, you are.
Yeah. Good evening. So I will be presenting on an I6 framework to strengthen and create a sustainable innovation ecosystem in academia, especially as I come from the academic background, and myself, Dr. Kiran Kumari Patil, and Director, University Industry Interactions, Reva University, Bangalore, India. So I will be focusing on the SDG 9, which talks about the industry innovation and infrastructure, whatever the academic innovations that directly contributes to SDG 9 out of 17 SDG goals and SDG 9 attainment activities, what we do and what we can improve. That will be the focus of my today's discussion on. So basically, the academic institution, in the scenario of an academic institution, youth empowerment is the main focus, so which is based on 5 E's. So the 5 E's are the 5 pillars supporting youth empowerment. So here I expand these 5 different E's is education, excellence, employment, entrepreneurship, and export. And these different 5 different E's, which are based on the support of network, government, private, public, and international. So GPII is the framework which is being supported is 5 different E's for the youth empowerment and hence the nation development. So the role of higher education institution in attainment of the SDGs. Higher education institutions have an essential role in sustainability. They are the key agents in education of future leaders that will contribute to the successful United Nations Sustainable Development Goals implementation, as the young minds contributes a great amount of their learnings from the present scenario to the development of these SDGs, implementation of these SDGs, and hence the attainment of the SDG goals, what we are talking about today. So higher education institutions play a key role in the implementation of these principles, and sustainability-based curricula and culture change is a key to the mindset transformation to attain these goals. Development of sustainability culture through different activities carried out on campus, such as institutional framework and assessment, research, education, experiences, operations, outreach, have a substantial impact on the world outside. Higher education has been considered as an engine for innovation and catalyst for sustainability development. The integration of both the innovation engine and sustainability catalyst is the major focus over here. When we look at the different roles where the universities play an important role in creating an innovation ecosystem, so university is changing from being a central player in technology transfer to being an anchor in knowledge exchange. The university is taking a new role for trust building between actors in innovation ecosystem. So today it's not merely an entrepreneurial university, but also an institutional entrepreneur in the ecosystem, innovation ecosystem. 3 emerging roles, all that universities are becoming the catalyst for sustainable development in innovation ecosystem. Knowledge exchange is a crucial for sustainability. Trust is the foundation for sustainable networks. Social entrepreneurship is indispensable to sustainable social change. Work together to accelerate ecosystem strengthening on priority. So in this direction, the transitions from inspire, translate, collaborate, and influence is what it works. So when I say inspire, we need to explore new approaches and emerging practices in the partnership with country level actors to better understand demand driven priorities and deepen collaboration. Translate, creatively package, and disseminate the learnings from global innovation leaders and partners. Collaboration tends to improve experts to achieve greater collective impact on these attainments, influence to bring together global innovation leaders to the ecosystem partners. The term innovation ecosystem refers to dynamic interactive network that breeds innovation. In practice, the term can refer to local hubs. It could be global networks or technology platforms. An innovation ecosystem is a network of the relation through which information and talent flow through the system of sustained value co-creation. So today is an era of connect, collaborate, and co-create, and that is where university plays a major role in strengthening the innovation ecosystem and make it more sustainable through different approaches. And we will be speaking about one of a unique approach and which we have practiced at our workplace, and that I'm going to share with all the leaders over here. So just to understand the innovation ecosystem, which comprises of enabling multiple policies, regulation, accessibility of finance, informed human capitals, supportive research market, energy transport, and communication infrastructure. It's a combination of multiple infrastructures and resources with a supportive networking assets which come together for a productive relationship between different actors and other part of the ecosystems. These factors are all important regardless of their whether the innovation is scaling through the public-private pathway or a combination of the both. Innovation ecosystems are like natural ecosystem consisting of specialized diverse entities that feeds, support and interact with each other. A typical ecosystem actors along with the scaling pathway we can see here, which starts from ideation, research development, concept, proof of concept, transition to scale and scaling, and sustainable scaling also is being represented. And at every phase, the different actors who are involved and the stakeholders who are part of these different 6 phases are starting from ideation. It could be a friends and the family and starts from the institutions. And when it comes to a sustainable industry, so it could be a frame, a private firm or a industry or a company. So significance here is is that the collaboration between industry, institution, and international research. So the collaboration is the key point here, where institutions comes together with the global institutions and industries to solve the social concerns and to create a new knowledge in the science and technology. Academia as an innovation driver. So the first stake, the ecosystem is the one which takes which is to be given as a value, and it is all about building, connecting, and promoting the strengths of the ecosystem stakeholders. And secondly is different diverse people, that is human resources, which come together, stay together, and they collaborate and exchange the knowledge, invent, innovate, and incubate, create impact on the humanity. So this is how the academia as an innovation driver can be of a great support. So when we speak about the ecosystem, we come across entrepreneurial ecosystem, innovation-oriented ecosystem, and mission-driven ecosystem. The entrepreneurial ecosystem, which is more focused on innovator, and the ecosystem performance is measured in terms of how well it meets their needs. But when it comes to innovation-oriented ecosystem, where the innovation process and the ecosystem performance is measured, and it is checked how well the different actors work together in supporting the production of great ideas, create, enable environment for the innovation to reach and scale to different levels. So mission-driven ecosystem, it is based on one particular development of one particular sector will be focused to achieve the targets. In terms of the ecosystem performance here in mission-driven, which is being measured in terms of how well the relevant actors work together to address that particular challenge, often within the specific time frame and geographic location. So, a framework for analyzing ecosystem strengthening and strengthening interventions. So, when we look at the framework, which is being classified or categorized into entrepreneurial ecosystem, innovation-oriented and mission-driven ecosystem. So the major things, major elements which are to be taken care are from human capacity building, access of the finance, support from the market and infrastructure, policies, regulations, innovation culture, networking, enabling, inclusive participation, and the roadmap to scale and support from a collective approach to solve a challenge which is being focused on. So when we bring all these elements together, address the problem, I think that is going to be one of the best framework to strengthen the entire ecosystem. So when I speak about I6 framework, which starts from institution to an industry. So here, an institution, as we all know that institution, the strength is students and innovative minds with innovative ideas. So idea to innovations, and these innovative ideas leading to innovations which can be incubated and at the academic incubator, supported with IPR and technology transfer from the IP, that is intellectual property rights cell, and further guided them towards a new venture from academia to create a startup, and which leads to the success and further the support towards the new. But scaling can be done through the industries, or the startup themselves can grow and scale to the level of the industry. So this is one of the very practical and strategic framework which is being developed and applied to create the ecosystem, innovation ecosystem at academia. And ideation is the first step towards innovations, and through the hackathons, events like hackathons, business plans, these ideations can be nurtured further and get incubated, and with the support of different stakeholders, funding support, mentorship, the startup can also be further registered as a startup and nurtured to scale and sustain. So once innovations and the startups are in place, and innovation management is one of the biggest challenge, and managing a creative people in the college and institutions, managing intellects is one of the challenge, and that can be done through different approaches. Like to foster creativity, leaders should support the behaviors of rewarding the innovations, even if it fails, training faculty staffs in design for the innovation techniques, fostering cross-department teams to solve the problems, clearly defining problems that must be addressed, understanding customers, students, and providing them with the support, handholding them, providing time for unstructured even ideas, or the come up with proper structured ideas. So not to pose too many rules on the students as they are in the academia, and when they start innovating, when they start thinking creatively, we should not pose too many rules, because the rules will make them not to think out of the box. So listening them with an open mind, encouraging prototypes, and using data and observation for recordings and rewarding them. So interactions with the IP cell and industries in the entire ecosystem, the interaction is very important. It could be between the industry and the university, between the invention or the inventor, and with the IP cell where the technology transfer happens. So once the innovation or innovative idea is being formed, that can be protected through the IP filing of the IP, and further it could be licensed through the technology transfer once the technology is ready with the prototype models. So the kind of ecosystem which enables the innovation ecosystem, different elements, like we we need to provide them with all the services and the programs which are supportive for them to nurture and grow. And in this direction, we have different programs like lead generation, pre-incubation, incubation, and growth services. And through this different stages and programs, handholding of the students in the innovation pathway is being done, and help them to scale towards the journey of entrepreneurship. So, summarize my discussion on this, change in the role of there is a great need of change of roles in the innovation ecosystem from the various varying perspective. New demands for universities rising from transformation in the society towards innovation ecosystem, transformations within higher education responding to emerging societal demands, dynamics of interactions of university with other innovation actors in the different contexts, like transnational context and academia, student mobility, that is global exchange of the programs towards the innovation culture also is going to help. So as a part of the case study, we have a technological incubation center called as Revan Nest, and we have implemented all these different strategies and with vision to create an ecosystem that will foster and support the entrepreneurship by translating innovative technological ideas into successful ventures, offering them products, process, and services that greatly benefit the society in large, with the supporting objectives. The facilities, what we have in terms of infrastructure facilities, and in terms of the funding facilities, and the knowledge base in terms of the mentorship they get, and the process is in place to get the admissions into this particular TBI, and there are calls for applications, frequent calls for different cohorts, and students and startups which are being incubated are growing year on year. And we also support the students in terms of the internships, where the startups provide the internships to the students. So these are the different ways where we can look at the having the sustainable activities and creating a sustainable ecosystem of the innovation at higher education institutions. These are some of our students' achievements and awards and activities we do regularly conduct.
Thank you so much, Dr. Patil.
Thank you.
You
Thank
can
you so
definitely
much.
share the
Thank you.
presentation. because we're just running a little ahead on time. Yeah, thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate it. Thanks. Nick Borrego, CEO and founder of Borrego and Bendel Corporation, co-founder of ATS Innovations USA, will share his insights on the impacts of smart mobility, economical, societal, and environmental. Nick is a 25-year-old international award-winning serial entrepreneur that is inventing the world's first all-in-one customizable traffic management solution. This solution will save millions of lives, hours, dollars, and create the future of traffic management globally. Nick is also the co-founder of ATS Innovations, the inventor of the world's first FDA-registered arthritis therapy glove that utilizes compression therapy and grip strengthening. Over to you for impacts of smart mobility.
Thank you so much. Beautiful. Let's see here. All right, can you see my screen?
Yeah, it's pretty clear.
Beautiful.
Good.
Sounds good. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Global Sustainable Summit's Impacts of Smart Mobility. Today, we'll create a better understanding of what smart mobility is and what the economical, societal, and environmental impacts are. Before we get started, I have one simple question for the audience. What is one thing the entire world can relate to? It's the fact that we all hate sitting in traffic. It's a waste of time, money, and it's frustrating. This is where smart mobility comes into play. My name is Nick Borrego, and I'm the CEO and founder of Borrego and Bendel Corporation, and we are inventing the world's first all-in-one customizable traffic management solution to save global lives, time, money, and create the accurate data to shape the future of transportation globally. Our product's name is Atlas, or Advanced Traffic Light Automation System, and it consists of 23 and counting different hardware and software capabilities, ranging from vehicle to infrastructure communication, traffic flow optimization, self-sustainable energy, emergency responder preemption, and this is just scratching the surface. So what is smart mobility? For those that are not familiar, by definition, smart mobility is an intelligent transportation or mobility network connecting various elements of technology and mobility, or a rethinking of the transportation infrastructure used in daily life or business. This industry consists of technologies such as artificial intelligence, cloud computing, computer vision, and Internet of Things, and location-based hardware and software services. An example of smart infrastructure includes smart traffic lights, the ability to communicate and transmit data while making real-time decisions. Smart vehicles, including self-driving or autonomous cars, such as taxis or personal vehicles, as well as electric cars. Smart parking systems that assist in locating your vehicle and parking garages. Smart public transportation, including electric and autonomous buses, light rails, and trains. Smart micromobility includes electric scooters and bicycles. Smart mobility ultimately allows the world to create and innovate new processes that advance our daily lives and create flexibility, efficiency, integration, clean technology, and safer environments. Here we can see an overview of the 6 pillars that make up the primary economical impacts of smart mobility. These include innovation, sustainability, productivity, creation of opportunities, increase in GDP, and an increase of quality of life. Each individual pillar goes hand in hand with each other in creating a massive economical impact within the communities across the globe. Innovation is the heartbeat of the future and the first pillar that we will speak about today. Currently, the majority of the world's infrastructure is in a historical transition from outdated technology to providing technology of the future. For instance, the United States Department of Transportation and White House recently made a press release stating that 75% of the 300,000 and counting signalized intersections in the United States have been outdated and need to be improved. This is where innovation comes into play. By utilizing technology such as machine vision, we're able to detect vehicles and make real-time decisions, making standardized signal timing a thing of the past. By creating new innovative solutions to outdated problems, we're able to revolutionize many areas that global communities deal with on a daily basis. We can see this clearly with autonomous and electric vehicles, which are revolutionizing the way the world moves in the future. So productivity, innovation goes hand in hand with productivity. As we are able to create new solutions, we see a major impact in global operations. With new and advanced technologies, communities can expect to attract new businesses, create new job opportunities, and expand our intellectual horizon on smart and connected cities. A specific global industry that would be greatly impacted by smart mobility is the shipping and logistics industry. By optimizing traffic flows and utilizing autonomy, the world can expect to reduce wait times on goods and services. Sustainability is the third economical impact that we'll speak about today. As society advances, we learn that the importance of a sustainable and scalable solution, especially in smart mobility. With cities around the world contributing millions, if not billions of dollars into billions of dollars, it is expected that these solutions provide longevity not only for present generations, but for future generations as well. We take traffic management, for instance. This industry has been utilizing software and as a service for some time, but what happens when these softwares become outdated and new problems arise? The world will need a sustainable solution, such as remote integration of new software services to tackle new problems in the future. Additionally, as a new solution becomes more affordable, resulting in increased adoption rates, the technology must be adaptable to suit several different types of markets. We can see this happening with new startups that are thinking outside of the box. Instead of focusing on a single problem, new technologies are tackling a series of problems with a single unit while reducing their carbon footprint. This is how modern technology will become sustainable for present and future driving environments. With well-organized and executed sustainability, scalability, and adaptation, we're able to see the increase in communities' GDP. An immediate noticeable impact of the economical side is smart tolling. Smart tolling allows local, state, and federal governments to create new sources of revenue where they can reinvest in sustaining and scaling new innovative technologies. In addition, as smart mobility companies provide global cities new solutions, we can see an increase in job opportunities, which in turn will make a positive impact on economical growth. For instance, Bird Scooters, or a smart micromobility company, employs nearly 600 people and has a valuation of 321 million United States dollars, and they founded the company in 2017. In addition, people truly enjoy these mobility advancements, whether it's saving time at red lights, having a vehicle drive you autonomously, or simply riding an electric scooter to work. It's shown an increase in the quality of life. With the increase of quality of life, we can expect new residents and citizens and taxpayers making a positive impact on that community's GDP. In 2018, the United States alone lost $87 billion in productivity due to traffic congestion. By utilizing real-time decision-making and traffic flow optimization, we're able to see a 35 to 40% increase in productivity. This means with smart mobility, people are no longer spending 20% of their driving time waiting for a red light to turn green, which inherently is a waste of time and money. By creating new methods of transportation, such as autonomous taxis and advanced public transport, we're able to create more productivity, which increases safety. This is due to the fact that we're able to take more vehicles off the road, which increases efficiency, and people are able to do more work instead of focusing on driving. Another example of productivity stems from simplifying and automating processes. A great example here is the smart parking systems. Recently, new companies have created unique technologies that allow people to find their vehicles in crowded parking garages and pay via mobile app on their cell phones. Instead of wasting time looking for their vehicle, they can spend time doing something they love or being productive. Through innovation, creation of opportunities, sustainability, rise of GDP, and productivity, we can see an enhanced quality of life, which makes a massive economical impact. Smart mobility is able to create happier and healthier communities, assist us in making more educated decisions, such as not getting behind the wheel while impaired or distracted, and allows us to create the future foundation for smart and connected communities, making it a priority for governments to implement across the globe. So environmental impacts. The 6 pillars for environmental impacts of smart mobility consist of reducing pollution, improving air quality, utilizing big data to make measurable and actionable decisions, and utilizing clean technology to increase the quality of life for more than just humans. Transportation accounts for 1/5 of the global carbon dioxide emissions. By utilizing smart mobility, such as electric vehicles, smart traffic systems, public transport, and micromobility, we'll see a massive decline in the environmental impact that we've made to the world. To keep this simple, the less idling vehicles, the less emissions the world has, which drastically reduces the environmental impact of transport. Additionally, smart mobility will have a massive reduction in fuel waste. As more people transition to electric vehicles and more cities adopt new traffic management systems, we'll see a significant environmental impact with reducing fossil fuel consumption. In addition, as technology advances, new smart mobility solutions are able to monitor pollution and give timely alerts about harmful levels within the environment. By reducing pollution and fossil fuel consumption, the world can expect cleaner air qualities. Although some of these technologies already exist, the adoption rates need to continually rise to create the desired impacts. Additionally, this information will allow us to have an increased awareness on our carbon footprint as we transition to all electric vehicles. Big data allows us to understand more about our environmental impacts. In the previous slide, I mentioned that smart sensors that monitor air pollution and give timely alerts about harmful levels. By having accurate historical data of the amount of pollution each city produces and where the most problematic areas are, we're able to come up with new innovative ways to tackle these problems. Additionally, with this information and new technology, we will be able to construct predictive emission models and create new policies and regulations to maximize our environmental impact. Clean technology makes a big impact on our carbon footprint. Renewable energy such as solar, electric, and hydrogen allows us to reduce and eventually eliminate pollutants caused by the transportation industry. The best part is we're just scratching the surface of our potential impact. As technology advances and adoption rates increase, this will provide more room for innovative ways to create a self-sustainable world and mitigate climate change. But with this being said, humanity needs to take a few things into consideration. An example of this is the solar industry has made a big impact on environmental conditions, but can also be harmful if not installed properly. If we clear land to produce solar farms, to produce power for smart cities and smart mobility, we'll be contributing to habitat loss. Again, this is where innovation and thinking outside of the box comes into play. A good question is, how can we use pre-existing infrastructure to optimize our solar capabilities? With this being said, the total environmental impacts of smart mobility is positive. As we continually progress, we can optimize pre-existing space and create more sustainable and environmentally friendly solutions. With reduced pollutants, increased air quality, big data, and clean technology, we can make the environmental impact with smart mobility that will change the world and improve the quality of life responsibly. Smart mobility will ultimately propel the world into the future and have exponential benefits. We can see this from increased safety, efficiency, better use of resources, billions of saved tax dollars, creation of new job opportunities, and enhanced quality of life. Smart mobility allows for an exceptional increase in safety, which in turn creates an amazing societal impact. Currently, car crashes are a leading cause of death in the world, with 1.35 million people dying annually. With the deployment of smart mobility technology, smart traffic management systems, and autonomous vehicles, we project to save half of these lives. Additionally, with communicative technology such as IoT and variable message signs, the world can expect an exponential increase in safety in areas such as school zones, construction zones, and highly trafficked areas. The reduction of criminal activity will also be impacted significantly. This ranges from red light running to human trafficking. By utilizing machine vision and learning and smart mobility, we're able to increase the safety from a single intersection to an entire city. The societal impact of efficiency with smart mobility will also create exponential results. Like previously mentioned, the smart mobility technology has shown an increase of productivity efficiency by 30 to 40% with traffic flow optimization softwares alone, compared to standard signal timing. This means we will spend less time waiting for a red light to turn green. Additionally, communities that adopt smart mobility technology will have increased societal benefits, such as being able to find their vehicles faster in crowded parking garages and new and faster ways of transportation in the micromobility and public transport. With improved manufacturing capabilities such as Industry 4.0 and Industry 5.0, we will also see a reduction of wasted resources. Again, as technology advances, we will see smart mobility turn more to software as a service. This allows for remote integrations and updates, as well as allowing cities to choose what technologies they want to adopt. With this business model, the world will see extended use of deployed technologies and the ability for these technologies to tackle new use cases. Smart mobility continues to prove itself as a key to saving billions of tax dollars, especially in extended periods of time. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, or the NHTSA, traffic crashes cost the economy approximately $299.5 billion a year. And Americans waste about 3 billion gallons of fuel each year they're stuck in traffic. With the increased efficiency that comes with decreased congestion, smart mobility could save cities and their respective industries billions of dollars in productivity and fuel costs. And according to the ABI's research calculations, smart city implementation to include smart mobility transportation could result in a staggering efficiency improvement amounting to more than $5 trillion in yearly annual savings. New smart mobility technologies can even provide tax incentives to citizens. Although this is a relatively new concept, we can expect a better rollout and understanding in the near future. Finally, new methods of micromobility transportation will assist global communities in commuting to work, school, and their activities. So according to the Tech Republic, self-driving cars and electric vehicles will create more than 100,000 jobs in the United States alone. Considering that this is a fraction of the smart mobility industry, we can expect millions of new job opportunities worldwide as adoption rates continually increase, creating both an economical and societal impact. According to PayScale, the average annual salary for smart city and smart mobility workers ranges from $48,000 to $125,000 annually, a nice increase from the average $31,000 per year in the US alone. These jobs will continually be in high demand and will bring new residents. The societal impact for quality of life for smart mobility applications is truly endless and will continually grow as technology advances. By adopting smart mobility technologies, we will substantially increase safety, efficiency, taxpayer benefits, create good job opportunities, and have a better utilization of resources and improve the quality of life around the world. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Nick. It was really good and lots of insights.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Our closing speaker for day one for the second grand celebrations of the Global Sustainable Development Summit 2022 is Mr. Santosh G, Global Chairperson of the Global Council for Promotion of International Trade. Santosh G is the founder, CEO, and partner of various profit and non-for-profit entities that were born with a vision of leading the growth of SMEs globally and the mission of developing an innovative way to unlock the potential of SMEs worldwide. In the last year, the group has become the fastest growing SMEs community in India and now spreading wings across 90 countries. He is heading as global chairperson of the Global Council for Promotion of International Trade, Global Council for Cluster Excellence and Research, Confederation of the Indian Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, along with more than 25 alliances and councils promoted by the group for advancing sustainable economic development. Welcome, Mr. Santosh.
Oh my God, I think we had a marathon day today.
right? We started, and thank you so much for hosting this event and such a short notice, right? And I have never thought that you'll be able to sustain 5 hours sitting there silently and watching entire range of speakers talking on different topics. Today we have started with Panin Technologies, who has developed a sustainable solutions on called sustainable photonic display system. And then we have listened how the plant-based food is catching up in the market and the type of opportunity that exists in the local and global market. Then we have also listened from Dr. Neelam that if you are talking about inclusivity or diversity, why are we not working for the people who are differently able? Dr. Neelam is really extensively, I think, working on that particular domain and empowering the entire community who are differently and differently able. Then we have listened to the chief guest who has been talking about that it's not about the sustainability being the big word. It is basically we need to think of from the bottom up, so that we don't not only talk about the high-end technology or the high-end needs that we have in the market, but also we should talk about the basic need that is required in the country like Africa and various other parts of the world. We have to talk about empowering people. We have to talk about making technology accessible and affordable so that we can develop a all-inclusive economic development. Then we have listened to Ashwini Kumar, who have been talking about that how corporate social responsibility can be one of the tools that can enable or help us achieving sustainable development goal. On the other side, we also have listened how Industry 4.0 and Industry 5.0 can be a game changer in terms of addressing sustainable development goal. It does not only automate. It doesn't only automate the industry, but it's also take care of multiple issues such as waste management, such as increasing the efficiency of your factory so that the production capacity will be increased. Even you will be able to automate. By automating certain things, you will be able to create a better environment for the employer and employee, and multiple things, multiple outcomes, and we will be able to build up a completely connected world once we implement Industry 5.0 or 5G based solutions. On the other side, we have very fresh speaker, Dawn, who have been addressing on the healthcare side, and then we had Swami. He clearly stated that there is a need for bringing youth in the system of decision making, so that they not only just be the followers, but they can also be the leaders. And if you're able to bring them, they also practice and they also learn in new things, which probably the challenging world is looking for. Then we have listened to the approach of Achyuta Roy, who have been talking about the farmers and how these farmers are now being divided, and the agricultural lands are becoming micro, which is not only creating problem in the society, but it's also going to create a problem for the sustainability of the farmers. So there is a need for to come up with a cooperative approach to build a better ecosystem for farmers, so that the farmers also can upskill. That is first thing. The second thing, they can also collectively bargain in the in the market while they are purchasing, because if at all they are under a cooperative, they'll be having the largest buying capacity of seeds and whatever the material goes into in their farming. On the other side, we also listened to one of the leaders from US, Mr. Paul, who have been talking about the importance of leadership in terms of advancing sustainable development goals. More importantly, yes, now he's commenting me on the WhatsApp. So, okay, then we had Madam Kapila, who have been talking about that what kinds of practices that they are being that has been adopted by Schneider Electrics to making Schneider Electrics more sustainable. And they are the only one country, I think, company who has agreed to support United Nations Sustainable Development Goal and making climate actions more voiced and hard. Then we have Dr. Renuka, who have been talking about the importance of partnership and the partnership, and she also have gone ahead and created a partnership platform to bring different type of stakeholders on the platform and creating a knowledge sharing platform on that. I think there are people will be able to come there, people will be able to share their knowledge, and thus they'll be able to create larger impact by learning and networking and adopting collaborations and partnership. On the other side, we also have heard Mr. Tapas have been talking about the importance of millets, which is very close to our heart, close to our mission. We have been talking about sustainable food. If you would like to talk about the sustainable foods, millets come on the top of the priority when we talk about the future of food and the sustainable foods. And it is not only that the food that can address the challenge of the hunger across the world, but it's also empower farmers to gain a little more extra money and have a healthy life. And so it's balanced, not only the buyer, but also the sellers and overall the entire ecosystems of the farming. Then Dr. Madan have briefed about different initiative that has been taken by Niti Aayog, by the government of India in terms of making healthcare accessible throughout India. And we had Mr. Majir, who also have talked about the importance of microfinance. Microfinance and micro lendings are two different things. And he also emphasized a use case based out of West Bengal, and where he talked, he has expressed the complete model that has been adopted, which is basically, once again, been empowered by technology. Digital has got a power to empower sustainable development goal. Then we have Mr. Ibo, who have been talking about the importance of Africa being part of the global economic development or the sustainable development framework, and the challenges that countries or the continent is facing. There are a lot can happen, and because there are a lot of resources, and more importantly, there are all the I think all Africans, I think 99% Africans are capable to speak in English, which is a global language. So I think they have got a better advantage to be inclusive and to be part of the global economic development. On the other side, we have Mr. Sandeep, who have been talking about the sustainable buildings. Then we have Dr. Renuka, Dr. Kiran, who have been talking about the importance of incubations in terms of advancing sustainable development goal and the progress that they are making, promoting their incubations at their university called Reba University. And last but not the least, Mr. Nick have been talking about a lot of things. I think that's mobility has got a lot to do. If you're talking about the climate actions, if you are talking about creating employment, creating a new line of business, creating the new line of services, creating the new life, improving the life of the supply chain. I think there are a lot of disruption that can come from the smart mobility, right? And more importantly, I was so impressed the innovation that he has done in terms of healthcare domain is one of its class. Last but not the least, I would like to tell the journey of Global Council. We are just 2.5 years of our organization. We started during the lockdown in the year of 2020, when every one of us have been sitting inside. We thought that now there is no movement of products. What next? We thought of let's try it out to sell out services, to support our startups, support our micro, small, and medium entrepreneurs in India, and give them an opportunity to learn cross-border. With that particular intention, we started an event called Global Leadership Dialogue. And the Global Leadership Dialogue was one of its kinds where we thought of let's bring subject matter experts from different countries. And we hosted India, Sri Lanka, India, Scotland, in the Netherlands, India, US, and various India-Africa dialogue. And through that dialogue, the journey started. It was a great journey because that has given us a foundation stone that the challenges that India was facing during the lockdown, the same challenges was existing in the other parts of the world. And we were the frontliner by adopting a technology which is called digital or online networking platform, or like a platform like Zoom, and scheduling different type of knowledge sessions, which has enabled us to be a global leaders, to be the global fighters, I should say. And then from there, and today, we thought that it is almost 2.5 years, and what we have achieved. The achievement that we have got is basically, I think, something around 100 hours of 100 hours of knowledge system that we have built on our YouTube. Each one of the sessions is so much of knowledge rich. I think many of startup, many of SMEs, many of the students can get benefited out of it. Last year, in the month of August, we thought of taking up a biggest challenge after hosting one of the biggest session ever in our life. We hosted 100 days to a leadership transformation. We hosted 100 speakers back-to-back 100 days to celebrate and to learn from the 100 global leaders for a span of 100 days. Immediately after that, we thought of let's go and do something cranky. We thought of let's celebrate, let's come up with a global sustainable development summit, and let's celebrate this thing, 17 agenda for 18 days. So we hosted the precursor and then 17 SDGs for the 17 days. And we hosted almost 167 speakers coming from a different background, different United Nations, different international organizations, different government officials, different NGOs, different corporates, different researchers, and different startups. They have changed the perspective, the way GCPIT has to sustain or the survive or the future of GCPIT. It was in the year of 2020, September, October end, we realized there are the amount of opportunity that is there within the Sustainable Development Goal, that itself is a game changer. So let's see what is the opportunity. The opportunity says that if at all, if our all entrepreneurs are getting aligned to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal, we will be able to add 12 trillion in the GDP. And that is too big. I immediately, after the session, I just gone ahead and connected with one of the bankers in India. And I talked about that you have got so much of branches in India. Why are you not converting all your corporate office or the head office or the regional offices and coming up with a solar panel on your rooftop? They were shocked. They told, what nonsense are you talking? I told, no, it is sense. Now, can you just tell me how much square feet of carpet area that you'll be having it, rooftop area that you'll be having it, all inclusive of 20 plus regional offices? Then the number was too big. Then he told that if you have something, let's say 40,000 square feet of area or 50,000 square feet of area, and if you're putting up your solar panel, how much energy that you'll be able to generate, and if at all, if you're saving those energy, okay, what not? Then he told that, whoa, our bankers will not take up the risk to maintaining the IT infrastructure or the solar panel infrastructure. I told, no need. We have got a startup who can deploy it. You just consume the energy that is being produced from there at a discounted rate, because you are providing us to set up the rooftop solar panel, and the game changed. Immediately after that, I realized that the potential, the data that has been given in the United Nations various report, it's all possible. And immediately after that, we thought of it's now the time to come up with the alliances. It's now the time to come up with the councils, because if at all, if you're not setting up alliances where we are not allowing the like-minded entrepreneurs or the stakeholders or the innovators or the subject matter experts coming together and sharing the knowledge and trying to see how they can collaborate and do some larger project. Without the help of this particular startup who is coming, have gone ahead and implement the solar panel on a boot model built on operate and transfer model, this project would have not been successful. So we realized the partnership is going to play a big role, and we need to bring different stakeholders and see how this entire project on a private-public partnership can be promoted. So this is not just one example. We also have gone ahead and collaborated with different local bodies to see if we can do something different. It was COVID-19. There was a limited access. Then we realized it is now the time for all the PSUs or the government to come together and collaborate with the startups and get maximum out of it. And it has worked out. we could develop a better healthcare communication system. We could develop a better monitoring system. We could develop a better food and drug or the medicine movement systems. Everything that has worked out. And this all project was started at the incubation center in Bangalore. So incubation centers plays a very big role. Then if you look into the different alliances that we currently promoting, immediately after setting the alliances, we also realized that no, it is not only the alliances that can happen. We need to bring leaders. Then we formed the council called the Great Leaders Council. And the objective of the Great Leader Council was basically to promote only 4 types of leadership. I told without the innovations, without the partnership, without the sustainability, without the what is called innovation, partnership, and sustainability and impact. These are the 4 types of leadership will not be able to survive. If at all, if have to make this entire alliance successful, we need to build this leader so that this leaders network can empower the alliances. Because if you're talking about the economy is currently going to scale only when there is a partnership, only when there is a disruption through innovation, only when people understand that as an entrepreneur or as an employee, you have a role to play in the sustainable development goal. Then the foundations of the Great Leader Council was formed, and we are happy. Even our today's host, Sagarika Sahu, she was one of the leaders who was awarded by us in this year through our Global Women Leadership Award. And she has been working her own. What we have set up nothing great. We just brought different entrepreneurs, different subject matter experts under a single umbrella through a different activities, and given them the open platform to network. An open platform to share, open platform to take the leadership and take the advantage of the global leaders platform or the leaders network that we have built over a period of 2.5 years just. Immediately after these great leaders, we realized that no, it's not about the great leaders also. Now people will say that, okay, why should I be talking about great leaders? What is the foundation that you're talking about? I told no, it is also that we need to tap founders. There are a lot of founders who are completely aligned to the sustainable development goal. Let's bring them. And let's bring them under a single council and say that what best practices that you are adopting in terms of promoting sustainable development and making your enterprise mostly sustainable. Then the Global Founders Council was formed. We have not stopped there. We thought that, okay, now there is furthermore. We realized that if you have to see entire things are working, we need to change the practice by the policymakers. And who are the policymakers? It's basically parliamentarians and diplomats. Then it is our responsibility also to see to it that we are working with different diplomats and parliamentarians to change the mindset, the way the policy has to be looked. The policy should not be like a short term. Policy has to be more on the long term and inclusive and more supportive, so that it's create an environment for promoting sustainable economic development. We have not stopped there. Further challenge. The challenge is been coming because when we have been digging the issues that is there in the existing ecosystem, we realize that the entire world is moving towards from a employer-employee engagement to a freelance economy. And now if you're talking about the freelance economy, then the resources safety and the resources social security has not been guaranteed. If at all, if you're a freelance resource, if you are working as remotely on a part-time project or something, you are not socially protected. Then there is a need for creating the Global Workforce Development Council. Workforce Development Council is completely focused on understanding the way the freelance economy and the future gig resources or gig economy is going to evolve. And what are the policy level changes has to be done to ensure that they can enjoy the social securities across the world. On the other side, we also realize that when we are talking about survey, all has to amplify. And how do you amplify? We need to have a media. And then immediately we came up with another council called Global Sustainable Alliance for Media. And that particular alliance, we have set up a digital magazines And we have launched back-to-back 3 different magazines, which is called the Great Leaders Magazine, which was supported by the Great Leaders Council. Then the Global Founders Council, who promoted Global Founders Magazine. And the third by Global Alliances Magazine. And we started getting a lot of content. Immediately after that, we now working on making all these digital magazine more accessible through our portal. And that is what the journey started. After that, last but not the least, another 2 things was set up. We realized that there is a need for technology transfer. Most of us have been talking about technology. And how do I go ahead and adopt technology from Europe and make it workable in Africa, and from India to Africa to some other parts of the world? Then there is a need for technology licensing and technology transfer. So we need to create a database of startups who are impactpreneurs. We have got an innovative product who can change the world. We must scale them, right? So we have gone ahead and launched a global impactpreneurs platform, which is now beta version is up. We'll be launching the full version by next year. On the other side, in order to see that these digital knowledge are accessible, the digital infrastructures are accessible. So we have gone ahead and set up another council called Global Council of Digital Equity, Literacy, Safety, and Inclusion. And that is what the journey so far. And I believe that we are going to learn many things over a period of next 2 days of our Global Sustainable Development Summit. And we are going to change and fine-tune the policy that we have adopted in the council. And we are proud that last 1 year, we have not only scaled in terms of the structure, but also have scaled globally by setting up our separate entity. And we are coming up in Singapore through one of our director from there, and we'll be launching GCPIT Singapore soon, after having our offices in US, UK, Europe, South Africa, and UAE. And thank you so much, Sangeeta, back to you. Sorry, yes, Sagarika.
No worries, Santosh. Thank you so much to each and every participant, speaker who was present on our platform today. And it has been an amazing session, and look forward to having all of you all tomorrow for day 2, same time, and on the same Zoom call. Thank you. Take care.